Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video I'm just going to recap some of the battles that I did when I was on Yasser's stream for a dual stream. And basically what I did was the team recommendations as I normally do, but I played until I lost. And these were just some of the fun or successful teams that I ran. So let's go ahead and get started. I think there's like 3 different teams, I want to say. I think sometimes the battles range from like 3 to 5 for each one. So this first one is I think it's like Hypno, Muck, and then Alolan Sand Shrew, which is a very spicy pick. It does cover Hypno's weaknesses pretty well. Obviously the Lickers, and then as well the Dark types. And I guess Alolan Marowak lead would be really tough, but I would just stay, to be honest, if it was Alolan Marowak. So here comes Alolan Muck. So clearly they don't necessarily have an answer for Alolan Muck. So unfortunately I don't get the move through. The Dark Pulse here. I'm going to switch out. And I am going to take this Dark Pulse. I'm going to look to build up a little bit more. Alright, perfect. Throw the Night Slash here. Does enough, even though it's resisted. Obviously they're pretty low at that point in time. So here comes the Lickitung. I'm going to build up as if I'm going to have a throw a Blizzard there. Okay, they switch out into Mew. This is a Confusion Mew, which is really confusing me. And I'm actually able to get to this next one here and take out the Mewtwo basically from full health. And this game is over. I think at this point in time I actually would. Okay, I tried to catch the move there, but it didn't work. And then at this point in time, I'm just talking with Yasser. And then I think I actually realized I didn't actually hit enough bubbles, but it doesn't matter. So I end up winning that game. All right, into the next match here. Hypno versus Hypno. So this is not particularly great because, well, I just go straight for the Shadow Ball. I do want to try to catch the Shadow Ball on Muck, which I do there. I'm assuming they're going to throw the Shadow Ball since they didn't shield. Here comes Pidgeot. So that's actually quite alright for me. I'm going to throw the Sludge Bomb here. Mostly because I have a Alolan Sandshrew in the back. And they actually let me get to this last Dark Pulse, which I ended up taking it out. And then I'm wondering, what are they saving 2 shields for? Of course, it's a Charmer. But this game is pretty much over. Because Alolan Sandshrew does resist, and I just really outpace the Wigglytuff. So here I'm going to throw, I think, 4 Powder Snows. Yeah, 4 Powder Snows that I throw. So when you throw 4 Powder Snows, they never get a full extra charm through. They just get the half turn, because you spend 4 turns, and then they do 3 charms. They spend, not 4 turns, 4 seconds, I should say, 4 seconds. I spend 4 seconds, and they spend 4.5 seconds to do 3 charms, and then that way I only give them that half a second or 1 turn. Okay, so obviously I want to switch out here because I predict that they have a fighter in the back because they would be really weak to Lapras in this lead here. So I'm going to throw the 1 Thunder Punch, and then I'm going to look to switch here. And they do a really good job at building up here. And at this point in time, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to get outraged here. But they obviously baited me, which is totally fine. I would have to shield one of those anyways. I'm going to build up. I should have maybe not built up so much there. I should have thrown sooner, is what I should have done. Because they have Ninetales here, which is pretty bad for me. And at this point in time, this is really, really bad for me. So they need 3 more Fire Spins to get to next Weather Ball. So I'll be able to beat them by half a turn. Or 1 turn, I should say. Half a second. I know people get really irritated when I say those incorrectly. But so as you can see, it's a decent CMP because of how the turn works out. And then I end up losing this match because obviously they have a Marowak in the back. And unfortunately, if I had shields up, maybe I could win this by throwing another Night Slash or getting the boost or something. But unfortunately, Double Fire really not that good for Alolan Sandshrew. But it was a really fun team. So I move on to the next team here, which is triple normal. Wiggly, Lickitung, and Chancy. This is a level 51 Chancy. I do have it best buddied 100%. And I throw a few charms here just to make it a little bit more palatable of a matchup for me. As you can see, Chancy doesn't really care about these charms at all. I'm going to throw this Hyper Beam here. And it connects. I'm able to take them out, and they decide to leave the game. Just respect for the Chancy, I guess. Okay, all right. Obviously, triple normal can be a little bit vulnerable to fighting in the back. So I switch out. They come into Blastoise. As you can see here, Chansey just has like pretty, like, I wouldn't say fun because obviously those Hydro Cannons are not doing very much. But I do get some, the pound damage is really adding up. And I'm going straight for the Hyper Beam here. And we connect with the Hyper Beam. Does a pretty decent chunk. It's still a really hard-hitting move despite Chansey having virtually no attack. Throw the Hydro Cannon, and then I'll definitely make it to the Psychic. And then I'm just looking to come up with a shield advantage. Throw the Psychic. I get the defense drop, which is pretty good for me. Able to charm down, and then I'm going to go straight to Lickitung. I'm going to be met by Lapras here. And I'm trying to debate on what to shield here. I let this first one go through. Maybe I should have shielded it, to be honest. I'm going to throw the Power Whip here. I'm just going to straight Power Whip. They let it go. I'm going to shield here. Unfortunately, I can't lick down. Yeah. Okay, I throw the Body Slam right before they get to the Surf by one turn. And then throw a Body Slam again. And I really need to get to this Body Slam. I desperately need to get to this Body Slam. Because I'm not going to be able to... I don't think I'll be able to get to a move with Wigglytuff. So this is my best chance to hit it with a neutral move. So Wigglytuff, pretty tanky still. And I get an extra charm through, which is great for me. And I'm not sure they undercharge this, or that's how much damage it is. We end up simultaneous fainting there. I do think that they undercharged it to try to get some extra farm. Unfortunately, it was a little bit too much, and I was able to win that game there. All right, we're into the next game here. Marowak. This actually was a Hex Marowak, which is really good for my triple normal team. And they come into Machamp, which is fine. As you can see, these pounds are still doing quite a bit to Machamp. I would actually easily win the Zero Shield versus Machamp. And I do think that they made a mistake here. They end up throwing early. There's no chance I was going to make it to the Psychic. I do think that they could have countered down. And I think I let both these cross-ups go. Yeah, I'll live the second cross-chop here. And then I'm going to look to switch out right away. They actually come into Dugong here. And then they switch it to Marowak. I think they got confused there. I'm going to throw the Power Whip, because Power Whip is only single resisted while Body Slam is double. Obviously, I'm really fearful of the Fire Blast. So I'm a chicken here. I do end up shielding. They end up baiting me, which is okay. I was hoping to get a shield here. But they are smart, and they don't shield. And they have enough energy for the Fire Blast, so I am going to shield. And then I'm going to look to farm down. Okay, so I throw the Body Slam here. So Yasser asked me why I threw the Body Slam. Well, I'm not debuffed yet, right? So I figured that they're most likely to shield, or I'll get really good value out of that Body Slam. And the Icy Wind. And I'm going to switch out. And they let me throw a bunch of charms here. So now for sure the Power Whip will KO. Their probably best strategy was actually to throw the Icy Wind and not take the charm damage, and then look to Icy Wind right away against this Lickitung. But because I was able to get a bunch of charms, which really made up for the difference in the debuffed Power Whip. So fun team, triple normal, lots of fun. Obviously, Chancy, really expensive Pokemon. I'm going against my good friend Angelino here, and he comes into Lickitung. It's obviously a very favorable matchup for me. I do soften up this Lickitung a little bit here. Chansey obviously would win this matchup pretty straight up, but I just wanted to get a few charms in beforehand. I am going to go straight Hyper Beam, which is definitely not going to be enough to KO this Lickitung, and he's just spamming body slams like no tomorrow. And I really want to get to this Hyper Beam onto this Lickitung, which is really fantastic for me. And I do predict that he has a Marowak in the back, which he's going to look to like farm down afterwards. I'm going to let this go because I'm not too fussed about winning the switch here. If he gets another Aqua Tail, that's totally fine. Yeah, so I predict a Marowak here, or like some other fire type, which I guess there's not too many. Angelina is a very strong player, usually runs really balanced teams. So I do get a bunch of charms off. I'm just barely miss out on the Ice Beam here, but I've charmed it down so much. I do go into Chancy just to try to absorb all the energy that they built up, and they obviously recognize that these pounds are eventually going to add up over time. And then I switch to Lickitung here, and I'm going to let this go because it's only going to be a Bone Club. No chance it's going to be a Fire Blast. And this Lickitung, he played really smart. He built up a bunch of energy. He didn't want to throw it onto Chancy. He wants to throw into whatever the third Pokemon is, or perhaps the lead, but yeah, this ends up being a really good situation for me. I think he decides to let this go at this point in time because really it's going to be over anyways. It's just going to straight pound down the whole team. All right, we go into this next game here. A Marowak here. I go to Chancy. They build up quite a bit of energy here, and I'm assuming they're going to throw the Fire Blast at me. They do, which is totally fine for me. And I wasn't really too sure how to play this, so they just straight body slam me the entire time. So I'm going to do... They end up shielding. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're throwing body slams exactly when they get it. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they get it at the 5.5 seconds on the third one. And they just keep body slamming. 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay. Yeah, they just end up keep throwing body slams at me, which is totally fine. I am going to commit to the next Hyper Beam here, which is going to do a pretty healthy chunk to Snorlax. They do build up quite a bit of energy here. They basically built up to almost double body slam. Basically double body slam here. Yep. And I'm going to take the body slam, and then I'm going to switch out. And they come to Venusaur here. I misplayed this matchup. I should be able to win this matchup here. Obviously, I'm fearful of the Fire Blast, but I make a very critical error. My opponent played very well here. I do commit to trying to get an extra lick in, which should allow me to beat them to the second one here. But they're obviously over farming at this point in time. So what I should have done here is I should have let the second one go as well. I should have let this go, charm down, because I think I would have been able to charm down this, or if I looked down there, maybe I would have had a chance to too. I think so they need like 7 more fire spins to get there. Yeah. So at this point in time, maybe not. I don't know. They had 7 more fire spins. If I can call the bait, or they basically need like 15 fire spins to execute back-to-back fire blasts. So this next team is a very degenerate team, which is from Hunter Craven. If you watch Twitch a lot, you'll definitely see him in chats, and he wants me to run Shadowvic double fire. This is fine. Actually do get shield, which is really nice for me. And I throw the Shadow Bone here. I actually thought about catching the second Body Slam, which was my intention. They end up shielding here. I think I let it go. It ends up being a Thunder Punch. Not a big deal. I definitely live another Thunder Punch. I'm not going to be able to survive 2 more confusions, but I'm only 1 Fire Spin away, which is why I didn't shield. And then here comes the Shadow Bone. Able to connect. And I go back to Victory Bell here, and then I'm just going to let it go. And then I'm going to look to farm down. The Hypno's still alive here, which I completely forgot about. They come into Wigglytuff here. I make a mistake here. I completely forgot that they switched out. So they were locked in. So I thought they were going to try to catch here. So that was a stupid play on my part because it almost cost me the game here because I barely survived this confusion now. But I was able to win the match there. So basically, I was playing till I lose. I was really hoping I was going to lose the first game, but I won a very nice game there. Okay, so obviously this is a very good lead, and they come into Venusaur here. I'm actually not entirely sure why they didn't throw before I threw the Shadow Bone here. They definitely have the energy for another Frenzy Plant, but I think they want to farm. The problem is here is that I have enough energy banked that I can get to a second one. And then they decide not to shield this. So I want to eliminate all their energy. So I go into Shadow Vic here and just eliminate all their energy. And that's going to be a GG. Maybe they had like a, I don't know, like a Machamp in the back or something. But it ended up being pretty favorable for me. All right. So obviously, very bad lead here. Marowak is also very bad against this thing. So I'm just going to shield this. And then they're at, I think, like, they need 2 more for the next Dark Pulse. 2. Okay, yeah. So they're at it. So, you know, I'm like, okay, at this point in time, I'm just going to commit. And then I'm going to bank the move here. I go into Rapidash. Does a lot of damage. They come into Tentacruel, which is really bad for me. And I'm just barely able to get to this Drill Run, which would deal super effective damage to the Tentacruel, so they decide to shield this. I'm going to wait the clock out. They have enough for the Acid Spray. So I throw the Leaf Blade right away. And then they throw the Acid Spray, which is really good for me because if they would have tried to farm down, they might have been able to. And then I'm going to switch out here. I should be able to make it to the Bone Club before they're able to make it to another move. And if they do make it to another move, it's going to be an Acid Spray, which would be bad, but it wouldn't be absolutely terrible. So able to win against a lone Muck lead. Okay, so this is really bad here. I do have to switch here because 100% they have something for fire in the back if you're leading Venusaur. So I go into Rapidash here. I thought about shielding here, but then they would have farmed me down. So I decided against it, even though I really wanted to. And the unfortunate part is that the clock is not really that elapsed here. So I'm going to build up here. And then I think it's like 6 more for the next one. So I'm intending to catch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I catch the next move here. And then it's just like almost impossible here. I got completely hard counter. So I try to go for the extra fire spin there. I shield this. Go 2 fire spins, 3. And then I actually thought Marowak wins CMP. So I went up to do another fire spin to not give the free snarl. And then I'm like, oh, shoot. Because then I could have thrown there. And then perhaps did a little bit more damage. Or perhaps even farm down. But I have Acid Spray, so wouldn't have been really that feasible, to be honest. So their Venusaur is also pretty much energy dry because I caught the move. And we're like, the Leaf Blade would only do a little bit. So I believe that is the last battle. So some really fun teams, some really degenerate teams as well. But hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of those teams, what you think about Kanto Cup so far. I'm going to leave there. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see everyone in the next video.